with your main Chip Washington. When it comes to information, the main got an arsenal. Bring you up to speed with what you need. He's a local and nationwide news feed. Let's talk about it. Dialect to do something about it. Chip got the flow wide open if you got questions about it. Man, it's the show that brings you to your raw. To solve all problems, it starts with real talk. Real talk. It's 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 real talk. Yeah. Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's real talk. It's real talk. It's real talk.
And here we go on this Monday evening in the city. 6 o'clock straight up, which means it is time for another live and all-new edition of Real Talk Memphis. Glad to have you with us. I am your program host. My name is Chip Washington, the humble one. Glad to have you along for the ride. We had a little rain this afternoon, depending on like where you are and, in part of the city and this and that. So a couple of these splash and dash showers, which were not unexpected today. Greater chances of rain tomorrow and on Wednesday. But overall, very nice day today. Temperatures in the 80s, and I hope you had a chance to get out and enjoy it. So how was your weekend? You have a good weekend? They only last about 20, 30 minutes. So, I hope you had an opportunity to get out and enjoy yourself. I know Lola did. Lola was out of town. She told me that Chip, it was very strange to go to another city in Alabama and not worry about anything. Everything was nice and peaceful and calm. And she hosted a birthday party for a young man. He was one. He's one. He's one. So that's pretty young. But anyway, had a good time. So listen, gang's all here. We've been kind of in and out here the last couple of weeks. Folks getting away and spending some quality time. And everybody's back tonight, and I'm glad to have you with us. So we have a good show for you tonight. I will detail the lineup in just a couple of minutes. Just so you know, this fine piece of radio broadcasting, you always ask, how do you get this fine piece of radio broadcasting? Well, I'm glad you asked. Any number of ways. We're on live right now, 91.7 on your FM dial. That would be WYXR. You can also catch us on the WYXR app. We are available on the TuneIn app. Just put in Real Talk Memphis, and our show should pop up. We are going to be live streaming on Facebook tonight, so you can catch us there if that's your preferred choice of how you find us. And when the show is posted in the next day or so, you can catch us on YouTube a little later on this week. And as we are a podcast, you did know we were a podcast, correct? You can catch us wherever it is you get your podcast once the show is posted. Okay, all clear? All hearts and minds clear? Very good. In terms of the show tonight, I think we have a good show for you tonight. Our first guest, who will join me in just a couple of minutes, is our Shelby County District Attorney. His name is Mr. Steve Mulroy, and he's actually in studio with us tonight, live and local and everything, like me. He's live and local, and he'll be here in just a few minutes to talk about a few things. A little bit later on, we will be speaking with State Representative Karen Camper, and she has a few things to talk about. There's a redevelopment project, ongoing project supposedly in Whitehaven. Phase 2 of that project was supposed to get started, but somehow the money just disappeared. We don't know what happened to it. The state doesn't know what happened to it. We'll talk to her about that. And, of course, some of the latest doings in the world of politics as well. And a little bit later on, we will be speaking with Yolanda Fant. She is the housing supervisor of Hope House. And Hope House is an organization that helps folks transition, get on their feet, folks who have dealt with HIV, poverty. They received a very large grant award here, over $1 million, as a matter of fact. So we'll talk to her about that, talk about the organization, what they do, and how this money will help them do even more for our community. So that is our guest list for tonight. Of course, today, as we do each and every Monday, we celebrate you. If you have celebrated a birthday, whether it be today or yesterday or maybe one coming up this week, this is the shout out. This is how we salute you to the world and let everybody know we're glad you're still around. But we can't do that till I say hit it, Brent. Happy birthday going out to the following folk. Happy birthday to Randy Taylor. Happy birthday going out to, let me see here. I gotta get a close up here. Tunga Murphy celebrating her birthday today, as is Gail Perry, Terry Jameson, Marie Alexander, Nicole Brooks, and a very special happy birthday to somebody we all know here. And when I say all of us here, Brent, Nicole, and myself, our general manager, station manager, Robbie Grant, celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday, Robbie, celebrating today. And a special shout out to a young lady in Los Angeles, California. Now, you know, my daughter lives out there. And when I went to go visit her during the holidays, I happened to meet this young woman, a very, very nice lady. To understand her health has not been quite the best, but my daughter wanted me to give her a special shout out. Her name is Miss Joanne. So Miss Joanne, I want you to know that I still remember you. It was wonderful meeting you, and wishing you and praying for your health, your strength, and your recovery. We hope everything turns out okay for you. That is a look at the birthdays, and thank you very much, Brent. We all, we hope that, we'll all be around next year as we celebrate your next trip around the sun. So in the news and notes, not a whole lot happened yesterday, except the entire political world was shook up in terms of the presidential election. Of course, the current president, Joe Biden, decided that he was going to step away. And he's going to continue being the president until his term is up next year. But he has anointed his vice president, Kamala Harris, as the next candidate for the Democratic nomination for president of the United States. That shook up a whole lot of things yesterday, believe that. And, of course, we have a little over 100 days left to the election. Kamala Harris, just a short time ago, spoke at the campaign headquarters. Joe Biden happened to call into the headquarters to thank them for all their work and said that he was going to be continuing to work and push hard to get Kamala elected as the next and first female president of the United States in this country. She's very... You know what? I've already heard some summary from some of the news folks saying Donald Trump, if I were Donald Trump, I'd be a bit concerned because Kamala Harris is a pretty sharp woman and she's not Joe Biden. And this ought to be very, very interesting. So she's fired up and ready to go. And I think given the fact that she's raised over $81 million in 24 hours, kind of lets all of us know that somebody out there is fired up in terms of her, hopeful nomination. Now all she's got to do is pick a vice president, so running mate, and get everybody all psyched up. And I would love to be in Chicago, wherever they're holding the Democratic National Convention. I would love to be in that room. There's going to be a lot of excitement. It's going to be off the chain there. So, and that happens in another month. So, yeah, there you go. Vice President Kamala Harris is officially in and headed for, hopefully, the big chair in the White House. So we will keep a close eye on that. Meantime, the purported assassination attempt of Donald Trump is still front and center as the Secret Service Director, Kimberly Cheadle, had to sit before Congress today and explained where the failures were. And there apparently were many. They ate her up today. They really did. And most, if not all of them, said that she should be fired immediately on the spot. Calls for her firing have grown louder. And I just don't think this, and for me, and this is just my opinion, I think it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when this is going to happen, because she said, quote unquote, we failed. Those words came out of her mouth today. We failed miserably in protecting this man. So we'll see what happens next on that. Let me see here. We already talked about Kamala Harris. A bit closer to home, a lot of folks are concerned about the violence that we see in our streets. We had a couple of episodes on Beale Street over the weekend. One gentleman was killed. 2 people were shot. The other one shot in the leg. I guess he's going to be okay. These were as a result of some arguments that happened between individuals. We don't settle these things like grown people anymore. There's always weapons being pulled out and always things like that happen. So again, the investigation into that continues. There was an incident in Indianola, Mississippi, sometime, I think I want to say late Saturday night or early into Sunday, where 3 people were dead after a shooting and 16 people were shot and wounded. Now, we don't have a lot of information. The Indianola law enforcement folks haven't really gave out much in terms of information, but that's a pretty big deal. And wanted to, we're going to wait and find out what the information yields from all of that. But 3 dead and at least 16 people shot and injured in an incident that happened in Indianola, Mississippi over the weekend. And finally, before we get out of here, I'm a little sad tonight because I found out yesterday on Facebook, of all places, that a friend of mine has transitioned. And a lot of you probably knew him too. He was a member of the WYXR family for a while. Carl Roberts, who was on every Sunday afternoon here for a couple of hours, playing that smooth jazz. I love the contemporary jazz. Well, Carl's been around for a long time in reference to the radio business. He was also known as the chief party rocker back in the days of V101. Well, he transitioned on Friday after a long battle with cancer. I don't know how old Carl was, but I can tell you that he was a prime individual, a wonderful human being. He used to always, he'd come down here on Monday evening sometime and he'd see me say, Big Chipper. He'd always call me Big Chipper. And he always had a smile on his face and very encouraging. So we're praying for his family. We're praying for his friends and his colleagues and all that knew him best. Carl Roberts, rest in peace, my friend. Rest in peace. We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we are going to kick off this broadcast with a live in-studio guest. DHD Mulroy is joining us. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. You know who you are. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Programming on WYXR is brought to you by a grant from Arts Memphis, who has invested $94 million into our local arts community to teach, uplift, unite, and engage Memphians of all ages and zip codes.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening in the city. Chip with you. Glad to have you with us as well. Now, for those of you who like to check this show out on Facebook Live, we are live streaming tonight. If you look and see, things are a little bit different here in terms of the setup. Why? Because we have a special guest in studio. We are very happy to welcome our district attorney, Shelby County District Attorney, Mr. Steve Mulroy. And it's great to see you, sir. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Thank you, Chip. Good to see you too.
Absolutely that. So, we want to talk about things. We want to, first of all, I always like to take your temperature as to kind of, your perspective, your perception as to where things are in the city and community, and based on what you're doing in terms of crime. There's always issues with that.
Sure.
But how do you think, where are things as far as your agenda is concerned these days?
Yeah, well, thanks for asking, and happy to be here. I mean, public safety has been and has to continue to be our absolute number one priority, right? Full stop. We have to do everything we can to keep people safe. And violent crime had been rising steadily in Shelby County for over the last decade, to the point where we were number one in the country in Memphis for violent crime per capita for a couple of years before I took office. And it is a real problem. We need to make sure that people are safe and that they feel safe. People have a right to be able to pump gas at night. They have a right to be able to drive on the interstate and not feel like they're in some sort of NASCAR speedway. And that's what we're working on. There's a number of initiatives that I've been doing here with the DA's office that I think are putting us on the right track. One of them you may have heard of is our V11 initiative. It's a fast track on violent crime.
Yes.
So we've identified 11 offenses that are either violent or associated with violence that we are giving special priority, because we've been refocusing on violent crime. And special priority means we're moving them through the system faster, we're being tougher on bail, and we're going the extra mile in investigations like monitoring jail calls. And we've been having good success with that. We've also been trying to do a lot more towards speeding up the criminal justice process in general. The number of jury trials that we've done this year to date, we're on track, if present trends continue, to be like 60% more than the year before. And that's because we've just been making more of an effort on not allowing the defense attorneys to continually postpone cases, and just kick the can down the road. And we've had great cooperation with the judges on that. They have been excellent about, being ready to transfer cases among themselves to make sure that we, can always try them and we don't have to keep postponing them. So that's a lot of what we're doing. One other thing I'll mention real quick is, we're focusing on violent crime, and that's got to be our number one priority.
Right.
But there are nonviolent crimes that we need to be focusing on too. I mean, a lot of people out there may or may not think that they're at risk tomorrow of getting killed, but they're all worried about having their car broken into in the parking lot, or having their car stolen out of their driveway, right?
Yes.
And so we've got to focus on those two types of offenses too. And we're doing something special in our juvenile court unit about these two types of offenses, car theft and car break-ins. And I want to pause here and mention the vast majority of crimes and the vast majority of violent crimes are done by people over 18. So we don't want to demonize our youth, right? Small percentage of teens are responsible for a lot of this.
For a great deal, yeah, sure.
But when it comes to those two crimes, car break-ins and car thefts, there is a disproportionate number of teens that are involved, which is why we're taking a look at it in juvenile court. And we've got this CARS unit that we set up, and it's for people who may have picked up a car break-in or car theft charge, nonviolent, haven't yet graduated to the violent stuff, haven't yet moved on to carjacking or robbery or things like that. And that's the trajectory, right? That's all too common that we're trying to interrupt.
Sure.
And so for that, we take those cases and we put them in a special docket, and we do kind of an intensive supervision of those kids. We sign them up with Memphis Allies program at the youth villages, this youth switch program where there's intensive supervision, all kinds of other requirements, and try to get that trajectory changed so that they're away from that trajectory. And of course, if not, then we have to prosecute them the normal way.
So based on that, because there's a couple of other things I want to ask you about, but based on that, one of the big issues we hear all the time is the involvement of, or in many cases, the lack of involvement with our parents, with our young people.
Right.
You talk about that a lot, and a lot of us do.
Yep.
How do we change that? Yep. How do we get parents to understand that a 12, 13, 14-year-old out here committing crimes can lead to nothing but danger?
So some of it is, you put your finger right on it. It's a big problem with we've got to get the parents more involved. You probably remember those TV commercials that said, it's 10 p.m., Do you know where your children are?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure.
I sometimes think we maybe want to bring those back because we need to wake people up to the responsibility. The parents are responsible for making sure the kids aren't running around late at night.
Right.
They're responsible for making sure they go to school and stay in school.
Right.
Right. They need to stay in class and stay out of trouble. Now, some of that's the parents, some of that's the pastors, some of that's our culture. So DA can't by himself change that. But let me tell you what we can do in our office. We have been having some conversations with Juvenile Court Judge Sugarman about some of these cases where the parents are either actually cooperating with the kids, like dropping them off for the car break-ins or whatever.
Sure.
Or just are not even doing the bare minimum of trying to keep their kids in school. And in some of those cases, we'll have to go after the parents. And we don't want to do it lightly. We want to make sure we're sensitive to the fact that there are a lot of parents out there that are doing their best, but they just can't control their teens, right? But for the ones that aren't even doing the basics, they need to have their feet held to the fire, and they need to be brought into court, and then need to be some consequences.
Let me shift gears here because recently, and a lot of folks talk about this all the time, bail. This whole system of bail and who gets bail, who doesn't get bail, and the whole 9 yards. And recently, you had an initiative that you were sort of fronting in reference to the judicial commissioners.
Yeah.
Which, for people who do not know, they are the ones that recommend bail. Am I correct in that?
Absolutely correct.
So you're saying that they need more information on the front end, based on some of these crimes, to be able to maybe negotiate, maybe a stronger bail or a higher bail.
That's right.
Based on certain crimes. Talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for that question. There's a lot of public misunderstanding out there. The DA's office does not set bail. Bail is set in the first instance by these judicial commissioners who are appointed by the county commission. And then if the person is, without any involvement of our office, and then if the person's still in custody 3 days later, 72 hours after arrest, then and only then does the DA's office get involved. And even then, all we can do is make a recommendation. The judge makes the final decision. But there have been, and I want to be clear here, the vast majority of people who are out on bail don't commit another crime while they're out on bail. And it's very rare for them to reoffend violently. But there have been too many cases where the bail was set too low, and the person, either based on their criminal record or the seriousness of the offense charged, should not have been let out.
Right.
And sometimes they'll reoffend, including violently, and we need to do everything we can to keep that number of instances down. So one of the things we can do is to cooperate with the judicial commissioners and try to get them the best information they can to make a decision, just like you were saying, Chip. So I took a look at it and realized that the information that is given to the judicial commissioners might tell them the number of offenses, the number, 1 felony, 2 misdemeanors, but wouldn't really go into detail in writing about what kinds. Was it aggravated assault? Was it marijuana? Was it trespassing? Was it simple assault? And they need to know that. Now, it's possible for them to get that information over the phone, but we thought there was no substitute for having it all laid out in writing at the time they make the decision.
Right.
So, thanks to the cooperation of County Pretrial Services, who really stepped up, and the judicial commissioners, who were also stepping up, we're going to make sure that there is a full written printout of all of the charges, the date, the final disposition, all of that, attached to their form, so they can look at that in writing when they make their bail decision.
So, having said that, there was a little pushback from the lead judicial commissioner saying that this has been something that's been in effect for a long time now in terms of accessing that type of information. Is that true?
It's true that they can access it over the phone, but we believe that there have been a number of instances of late where we don't think perhaps they were accurately or adequately taking into account the criminal history. And so Mayor Harris and I decided that Pretrial Services, which reports to Mayor Harris, needs to provide all of that in writing. There needs to be a record so we can hold everybody accountable, and the record needs to show all of the details of the criminal history rather than just leaving it to them on a case-by-case basis to get it by phone.
There's one more thing I want to ask you about, because this has bothered me for a very long time, and maybe a lot of other folks too. This perceived interference in local affairs by the state House.
Yep.
Of course, a friend of yours, Senator Brent Taylor, seems pretty determined to try to get you removed from office, and of course he's asked Cameron Sexton is going to bring this up. First of all, where did this come from, and why are we dealing with this?
Well, I think it's pure politics, plain and simple. I'm an easy target, and I think it's a way to get press and clicks and likes, and play to their right-wing base. It's very partisan, and it's never been done in the history of Tennessee. And basically, what they're trying to do is they're trying to portray me as soft on crime. When if you listen to anything I've just said over the last few minutes, I think you'd think that I'm anything but. I'm interested in criminal justice reform, but we're also prosecuting the cases every day, including the violent cases. So there's really nothing to it. And Chip, there was a great article, first in MLK 50, and then later on the front page of the Commercial Appeal by Catherine Burgess. And I urge everyone to take a look at it. It's called Brent Taylor is determined to oust Steve Mulroy. His effort is rooted in misinformation. If you look for misinformation in Catherine Burgess, she goes step by step through every one of the things he's complained about, and then the myth and the reality. And there's really nothing there. You have to show official misconduct or a complete dereliction of duty. You can't just remove somebody over a policy difference. And there's really just nothing there. And it's a real shame because the voters of Shelby County voted for change. We had a whole campaign where we talked about, you could lock it up and throw away the key, or you can be smarter. And 56% of the voters in Shelby County said they wanted change, said they wanted me. And I guess what we have to decide at the end of the day, Chip, is who should decide who should be the Shelby County District Attorney? Should it be Nashville politicians, or should it be the voters of Shelby County?
This seems to be a trend, though. I mean, this isn't the first time. I mean, they've dipped their toes into several school board and a lot of other issues going on here.
Oh, yeah.
I do understand that they are very serious about wanting to make this red, make our area red here.
They said they're going to make Shelby County red.
Yeah. And I mean, this seems like an attempt at it, but it just seems to me that that we ought to have more of a recourse to fight this interference from what happens in Nashville to what we're trying to deal with down here. Am I wrong in that? Or?
No, you're not wrong. And there are some legal challenges out there that are possible. But, in the meantime, nothing's going to happen until January. So what I'm asking people out there within the sound of my voice is pick up the phone and call your state legislators, and especially call Republican state legislators, whether they're your legislator or not, and tell them that you resent the idea of Nashville overturning an election here in Shelby County. And you're right, they've done it with the airport authority in Nashville. They've done it they try to do it with the school board here. Yeah. They won't even let us name our parks, or decide what statues should be up. And I'll also tell you, Chip, this thing about the targeting Democratic district attorneys is happening all across the country. In Georgia, they passed a special law to try to get rid of Democratic DAs. Ron DeSantis in Florida removed 2 Democratic DAs. There's stuff like this happening in Texas and other parts of the country. Larry Krasner in Philadelphia, the Republicans in the legislature tried to impeach him. So this is part of a pattern across the country where, red states don't like it when Democratic DAs get elected, and then they try to undo it.
It's a dangerous precedent. It really is. Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy, man, it's great to see you. It's great to have you here with us tonight in studio. And keep on fighting, man. We're fighting with you. We all need to work. We all need to handle this together. All of us do.
Absolutely. We need to be joining hands, not pointing fingers. And that's another reason why this very divisive removal thing is not productive. We need to all be working together on crime.
Thank you, sir, for being with us. We really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, DA Steve Mulroy, we're going to take another break. And when we come back, we're going to continue our conversation on this Monday edition of Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you like real talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Laser Live returns to the Memphis Museum of Science and History, and this year, WYXR DJs are in the mix. The series features live bands in the AutoZone Sharp Planetarium set to a laser light show. Each show will also showcase a set by a WYXR host, and refreshments from Crosstown Brewing Company will be available. More information can be found at moshmemphis.com.
Support for WYXR comes from Tresvent, located in the heart of Memphis at 177 North Highland. Tresvent is where culture and community come together, offering independent living apartments and garden homes ranging from 650 to 3,000 square feet, as well as all levels of care in assisted living, memory support, and a 5-star health and rehab center. More information to schedule a tour at tresventmanor.org. Support for WYXR comes from Team Clean. With more than 22 years of experience, Team Clean provides services for home, work, or studio space. Biodegradable cleaning products mixed with common sense and tailored to each client's needs. Estimates and information at weareteamclean.com.
Hey, I'm Amy, host of Sonosphere on Monday at 4 p.m. and you're listening to WYXR 91.7 FM Memphis. I'm here today to ask you to further your impact with the station with the city's soul by joining the ranks as a WYXR mid-level donor today. Join us in championing a more inclusive and informed world through the transformative power of the community radio. Visit midlevel.wyxr.org to become a mid-level donor at WYXR, where your investment paves the way for a brighter and more connected future. Mid-level donors enjoy exclusive benefits such as on-air acknowledgments, VIP passes to Raised by Soundfest, and the opportunity to step into the role of a guest DJ. More information about mid-level donations can be found at midlevel.wyxr.org.
Support for WYXR comes from Lens Rentals. Based in Memphis and offering nationwide shipping, Lens Rentals offers online rentals for photography, videography, and lighting equipment from a full catalog of brands. More information on services and equipment at lensrentals.com. GonerFest 21 is coming September 26th through the 29th to Rail Garden. The annual musical festival put on by Goner Records brings bands from all over the world in Memphis to celebrate rock and roll in the city where it was born. This year's lineup includes the Rip-Offs, John Spencer, Derv Gordon, Felder Space, GT, Rosalie, Split System, and more, live and in person. Tickets and more information at gonerfest.com.
Programming on WYXR is brought to you by a grant from Arts Memphis, who has invested $94 million into our local arts community to teach, uplift, unite, and engage Memphians of all ages and zip codes.
Shannon and Cecilia here. Do you love stories featuring community changemakers in Memphis? Don't miss Just Bluffin', a feel-good podcast found online in the WYXR Podcast Network.
Access all our podcasts at wyxr.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this beautiful Monday evening in the city. A little rain notwithstanding, but a very, very nice evening. Chip with you. Glad to have you along for the ride as well. And my next guest is not a stranger to this broadcast or any of you. Of course, she works very hard on our behalf when the legislative session is in, and we're always happy to have her on the show, State Representative Leader Karen Camper. And Karen, it's good to see you, my friend. How you doing tonight?
Good to see you too. Doing well. I didn't even realize the rain. So we got a little rain out there.
Yeah, a little spotty, but not bad. It'll cool things down just a little bit. But listen, I know you're very busy, and I really appreciate, as always, you taking time to come on and talk about some of these issues that so many of us are dealing with on a daily basis. First and foremost, I have to ask you about the blockbuster national political news that happened yesterday. I know you probably made a comment already, but what do you think? President Biden has stepped away, and the vice president is stepping up. What's your take on all this?
Well, I think it's a wonderful opportunity for America. I think that when President Biden made his decision, although I'm a Biden delegate, I was feeling I'm with him to the end. Let's go down, all the way with our candidate. When he decided that he felt this was best for America, I felt the silver lining in all of that was that with Kamala Harris, we again will have an opportunity to make history in this country. And so I'm excited to be a part of that history. I'm excited about the energy that is going on. I'm just excited right now for the possibilities of hope here in our country.
That's the one word you use there, which is very important, is energy. There seems to be a renewed energy now in this, because she's raised over $81 million in 24 hours. So, yeah. People are paying attention to this, and this is consequential. It is important. I've talked to you in the past about the importance of voting and how important it is, especially for people to understand that rules and laws emanate from those federal elections, those statewide elections, and those federal elections in particular. Talk a little bit about that, how important that is.
Well, you hear people all the time say, well, why do we have to do this? Or why is this a law? Or why am I being locked up for this? Or why? It's because the people that are elected to these positions are proposing these laws, are passing these laws, and you need someone there to, one, fight for you, to make sure that your voices are heard, but also vote the way you want them to vote in order to do things that empower our citizens and not have a negative impact on them. So here's an opportunity. Here's a moment where turnout is probably going to be historic. Mm-hmm. And in that historic turnout, we'll have an opportunity to get people in office to do those very things that the everyday Jane and Joe tell me all the time that they care about, that they want to happen. Because what happens at the federal level right now, and the vice president's vision for what she wanted to be, she's going to need a Congress that can help her get it done.
Right.
She's going to need people in the state house to implement the things that are coming down from the federal level. And so now with all this renewed energy, this historic moment, we're in a position to really change the course of America right now with the down ballot that is going to take place after they come in and vote for her.
One of the things that frustrates me the most, we talk all the time about the importance of voting on many levels, is this lackadaisical type attitude here in Memphis and Shelby County when it comes to going to the polls. I read today or heard today from a friend of mine in reference to the early voting for this upcoming election. We've seen about 17,000, little over 17,000 people show up to early vote. Compared to 2020, where there were over 37,000 people during this same time period. That lets you know something. What does that tell you as an elected leader and one who keeps track of things like this?
Well, kind of really, if you step back and look at what's happening, generally in a primary like we have here at the state level, which is pretty much what's on the ballot right now. We have a primary election going on for state representatives and senators.
Right.
And in primaries, and particularly here, you don't really have that many positions where there's opposition going on within that primary. Mm-hmm. So people feel like, oh, okay, well, he's the only one that will, whatever, I'm not going to vote. In 2020 that you're referring to, you had several other positions on the ballot. And so you had more positions out there for people to come in and have their voices be heard on. Mm-hmm. So that's going on. We have only one county seat that is on the ballot right now.
Right.
Now, 2 years ago, you had all of the county seats up. Mm-hmm. So you had more people out in a general trying to elect the person to those constitutional offices. So that's kind of going on too. And another thing I talk about with respect to voter turnout is it's not all the time that it's apathy. A lot of time it's fatigue, because you come 3 years in a row, then you have 1 day off, one year off, then you come back, vote, then you have 1 year off. So people sometimes are a little tired of all of the phone bank calls, a little tired of all of the negative mail coming to their house and stuff like that. So you also have fatigue going on.
One thing that I have heard recently, and it really disturbs me, but there's no shame in that game where your House Speaker up there, Cameron Sexton, says, I am determined to make Memphis and Shelby County red. He wants to turn this into a Republican-dominated community, just like he did, just like the Republicans are trying to do all across the country, and just like this state is right now. How do you feel about this? There's no shame. I mean, he had publicly admitted this not too long ago. This is very, very disturbing, and should be disturbing to a lot of people who care about democracy.
Well, first off, what they've recognized, which is true, is they can't get elected in these blue areas, right? Memphis is primarily a blue, if we talk blue and red.
Right.
And so they really want the power, though, of our city. They want the assets of our city. They want to control the future of our cities. So the way that I believe they think they can get that is through the county positions. They are mad that they lost their last two strongholds, which was the district attorney, countywide position, and juvenile court judge, countywide position. They lost both of them. So they have no elected leadership at the county level. They don't have a sheriff's office anymore, don't have none of the constitutional offices. That's why I think with this General Sessions Court clerk that's on the ballot right now, they're using it as a test bed for what works, what didn't work. If we tie this candidate to a city person that we coming after anyway, if we try to demean, Mulroy, in 2 years, when those county positions are going to be back up now, in 2 years, you're going to have county mayor up. Remember, Luttrell was the last one.
Right.
On the art side.
Right.
Sheriff, Luttrell, Oldham was the last one.
Right.
All of them are going to be up again for election. That's the red he's talking about. He wants those seats to be Republican because they are sick over the fact that they are no longer in power in leadership here electedly in Shelby County.
Do you think?
And we have to fight that. And that's why I say this election, people talk about the numbers of turnout is important, which is what you're saying. The numbers are so low, they think they can slide in and get it. Because we're at home, it's not many, whatever. We've got to debunk that with the quickness. We have got to turn out, let our voices be heard, secure that seat. Because if they think they can pick off one, oh baby, they coming after the rest of them.
Do you think, finally, that enough of our people know, we are a blue city. I mean, we're a minority city. But I mean, are people aware of exactly what this plan is? Because they're not making any secret of it up in Nashville.
Well, I think people are living and working and doing things. People are doing what they're doing and they may not be paying attention to it. So we'll have to bring attention to it, which is why, matter of fact, to be honest with you, I pulled together Senator Agberry and I said, we got to pull together a team to meet on this tonight. So I got that at 7:30. So I'm going to have to jump off and go get on that.
Yeah.
But so that we can get the word out to people so they can kind of know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely that. I tell you what, we're very proud of you, State Representative Karen Camper, always working hard for the people. She's the leader up there at the House. And, we'll keep a close eye on it, and I'm sure you will too. And maybe we can get you back on the program down the road once things settle down a little bit and as we head into 2025.
Absolutely. I'd like to come and talk to you at some point about the Win with Black Women group.
Absolutely.
I know you know about that. I was one of the original 90 Senator Egbert and I, one of the original now 90 when that was created back in 2020. We've been actively involved in making sure that Black women have representation in the Biden administration.
Absolutely.
And all of that. And so that call last night with 44,000 plus women on it, we raised $1.5 million in less than 5 hours.
Wow.
For vice president. And so we're starting one here, Win with Black Women Tennessee. And our first meeting will be this Thursday. So we're going to be galvanizing, energizing everybody everywhere that we can across this state to get prepared for this historic moment in the election in November.
State Representative Karen Camper. Karen, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show tonight. And we'll talk down the road. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, see you.
Okay, bye-bye. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. One final break on this Monday evening. And when we come back, we will continue on this version of Real Talk Memphis. It's been a good show so far. Thank you for all the folks who have chimed in on the Facebook Live line. I see Patricia Rogers and GKP is back tonight. I appreciate him as well. Marcus Dwayne Belton and a few other folks. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Yo, it's Chemist here, host of Computer Noise Radio, and I'm here today to ask you to consider donating to WYXR. When you donate to WYXR, you're no longer merely a listener. You're a vital part of our WYXR community. Becoming a member is incredibly valuable for community radio, allowing us to budget, plan, and increase the ways we serve Memphis. Join us in shaping the future of local radio now at wyxr.org/donate.
Connect with Memphis on WYXR. We offer sponsorship opportunities that expose your brand to our loyal listeners who value local arts, culture, and music. Support public radio and be part of our community. Explore more at wyxr.org/sponsorship.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening as we roll along. Been a great show so far. Glad you have decided to take a few minutes to be with us this evening, as is my next guest. This organization, many of you may not have heard of the Hope House and the fine work that they do to help so many in our community. But they were the recipient of a major grant award, which is going to help them do even more positive work in our community. And I'm very happy to have on the show tonight Yolanda Fant. And Yolanda is the housing supervisor for Hope House. And Yolanda, it's great to see you. Welcome to the show. How you doing tonight?
Great, Chip. I'm doing fine, and you, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely, doing well. Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. Yolanda, for people who don't know, give us a rundown of the Hope House and some of the fine work you do in our community.
We try to improve the quality of life for individuals and families affected by HIV and that are in poverty. Some of the things that we offer are counseling, of course. We have a food pantry, we have a daycare, we have a preschool, we have housing, and we also have grants that help individuals with utility and rental assistance. We do a little bit of a lot.
How big a problem is this, Yolanda? I mean, we have a lot of challenges in various areas in our community, but specifically with what you just described, how big a problem is it that you all see on a regular basis?
Chip, on on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm sorry, it's a 15, 20. We're turning people away that need housing. We see individuals that come, they need, like I said, they need food. It's very challenging. And again, I get calls all day, every day of individuals needing housing. So it's real bad.
Having said that, you all were the recipient. There were several grant awards given out not too long ago, and your organization was singled out. And I believe you got the highest grant award. I believe it was $1.5 million, which is a lot of money. First of all, congratulations on that. And secondly, what does Hope House do with that now? I mean, you have this money coming. How do you earmark that? How do you use that? I did hear there was going to be some more housing available, but tell us a little bit. Tell us a little bit about that.
With the housing comes deposits. So we pay their deposits, we pay their app fees, things of that nature. Because like you did hear me say that a lot of our clients are living in poverty.
Yes.
Also, it helps with our daycare. Our daycare feeds the children free. Mothers don't have to pay anything. We give them the diapers, the milk, the food. That money is going to go a long way. And it helps, of course, to pay our teachers to be there. But the children, when you see their faces of how we can help and get them nutritional supplements and everything, the money just goes a long way.
You talked about something that we all know too well, unfortunately, in our city, which is the poverty rate, which is pretty high here. And it really is high among children. And you mentioned that, really being able to provide nutritional, sustenance for them and a lot of other things. And these people who the HIV component of this, we do know that is, again, that's one of the things that's a huge problem here in Shelby County. Health Department just had put out something on that not too long ago. So it really does affect quite a few people, does it not?
Yes, it does. And one of the things that we're doing within our organization, since you mentioned the cluster of HIV reports that we have, we're doing more testing now. We're going out more, trying to reach more places so we can try to, not just say contain it, but, also to say contain it, to try to capture more people, to educate them on it, especially the young children. We're just branching out all over. Normally, we are in laundromats, we're in schools, and we're doing more of that now. We're going to more schools, we're going to more laundromats. We actually have testing on site now. We're in Walmart, we're testing there. We're just trying our best to do whatever we can to, to just be a part of this community and try to embrace it and make sure we stop this infection from going farther and farther.
Yeah, it's a very, very serious issue, and it affects everyone concerned in the family. How many more houses have you all figured out yet? How many more houses you can build or provide in terms of shelter with this money? Because it's a pretty healthy amount. It really is, and it says to me when you get that kind of money from an organization providing grants, it tells me that the work you're doing in our communities is being watched and is being valued.
Okay. Well, we don't have shelter. What we do is called scattered sites. That means our clients go out and find the housing that they want. The city of Memphis inspects it. And we're going to add about 10 more clients to our program. Okay. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, we're at 77.
Wow, that's pretty healthy. So you guys are busy on a regular basis, aren't you?
We are. I do want to say that's the TBRA program. We also have a HUD program that houses 30 people, and we have a YDH program. Right now, they're at 13. So we're trying to get these individuals housed because the need is there.
Well, that's over 100. That's over 100 people right there. Exactly. in terms of what you're doing, and a lot of them come with ready-made families. They need help. And I think what I'm hearing you say throughout this conversation is there are a lot of people with a lot of needs. and you can provide whatever assistance you can provide for them. You guys do that. That's why it's called the Hope House, and because you're providing hope for a lot of people. And I'm sure that helping them getting on their feet, helping them find sustainable housing and things like that, I'm sure gratitude is pretty high. Am I correct in that?
One of the best things that I love, and I have to say to the clients, they'll say, thank you. And I say, no, it's not me, but it feels good when they are so appreciative. One of the things that I didn't mention when we do the housing, we also help some individuals pay their utility bill.
Oh, boy.
So when you tell a client, we're going to pay your $1,300 rent and we're going to give you a $200 utility allowance, the faces, they light up, they cry. We just had a family that moved in. They were staying in one of the apartments here in Memphis. I say in Whitehaven. They came in. They were a part of our daycare, and we had some funding open up right before we got this grant. And they came in. Now, Chip, we were able to give them a 4-bedroom house, a mother, a father, and 2 children. They're elated, and it makes me feel so good to see that. Being that I'm from the inner city, I'm from the Lemoyne Garden, so I love to see when they light up like that. It just makes me feel so good.
Before you go, if anybody is listening to this or has somebody who in need who may want to know more about the Hope House and how to get in contact with you, give us the contact information, please.
Okay, my contact number is 901-503-2834, and I'm Yolanda Fant. We also have another number that they could call, which is 901-272-2702. But please feel free to call me, and I'll get you to anyone in the agency that you need.
Yolanda Fant, housing supervisor for the Hope House. Yolanda, thank you for coming on the show. Congratulations on the grant award, and congratulations on the wonderful work that you're doing for so many in need in our community. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you. Have a nice night.
You too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, there you go. That wraps up another edition of Real Talk Memphis. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, because this was a really good show tonight. Really, really great information. A lot of good people doing a lot of good things out here. As Brent plays us out, it's always good to sit back and really count our blessings. There are so many that are struggling in our city. We have a lot of problems, and it doesn't do any good to run from that. We need to embrace it, and we need to understand it, and that's why I bring guests like this on the show, so you understand that there is a need and that we can all help in our own way to take care of those needs. Really appreciate everybody coming on tonight. DA Steve Mulroy in person here, of course, State Senator Karen Camper and Yolanda Fant. If you like what we do on this show each and every week, please tell somebody to join in and watch and support what we try to do. For Brent, for Lady Lola, and for yours truly, thank you again for helping us do what we do. We really appreciate it. Happy birthday again, boss, Robbie, on this date. The Lord says so. We'll be back here next week to try to do it all over again, just a little bit better. So in the meantime and between time, I'm Chip, and we are out. See you soon.